Yo, we're back at it with this VR mining and tree chopping code along using Unity 3D. In the last video, we created a custom character using Blender and the MakeHuman plugin. We also imported this character into Unity 3D. In this video, we're going to rig this character up using inverse kinematics for his hands, head, and feet. Here you can see a procedural walk as well. Let's get right into it. Okay. Our character is in, textured, everything seems fine so far. Let's move on to getting a rig on this character. So in Unity, I believe is Rigify. We can go to Window and go to the package manager, and we need to get the rig package. Animation rigging. So here we're going to install animation rigging. Go ahead and click install. Now that that's in, we have a new tab up here that's animation rigging. So let's click our character and we're going to go to animation rigging and we're going to click rig setup. And that will create an object right here called rig, and also create a rig builder and assign this object to this rig. We'll change the name of this object to Bob Rig, and as you can see, the name will match. Okay, now you guys can see a tutorial on this here. Let me show you where that is. Here is the rigging tutorial that basically I followed to make this part of this. And go ahead and give him a like and a subscribe, because this was actually a really well done tutorial. And in a VR landscape, this guy seems to be doing really good. I like his tutorials. So this is the video. The link is in the description. This is what we're gonna follow. You don't need to watch his whole video. Just grab his assets. So over here he has some scripts and stuff you can download, and just download it here, and you will be able, it will request you to import it into Unity. You import the zip into Unity and you'll have his like model and the scripts. We're going to be taking 3 of his scripts, and those are the 3 scripts you'll get from his from this download. And yeah, so go ahead and grab those scripts from his download in this video, from the description in my video to his video, and come back, and yeah, we can continue this. And we'll be using his scripts, but I'll pull them in a second. For right now, let's set up our whole character to the point where we can actually start using his scripts. So first of all, we need to set up the IK and everything for the hands and the legs, right? And to do that, first of all, we need to set up a rig so we can see this character's bone. We have the rig builder, but I want to see the bone, so we do bone renderer setup while having the character selected. So there we go. We have all the bones for this character, and you can see, you know, it matches what was in Blender. That's nice. And now we can start setting up the IK. So when we do this, what we want to do is under Bob Rig, we want to create a new empty, and we're going to call this left hand IK. We want to create one for the left hand and one for the right hand. So with left hand IK, we're going to do add component, and here we're going to search for 2 bone IK constraint. And here is our 2 bone IK constraint, and we just need to set up the tip bone. So for our case, and for most humanoids, your tip bone will be the hand, the bone that controls your hand's rotation and everything, and the one that connects to your arm, that will then, and then the arm connects to your shoulder, right? So these 3 bones. So the tip will be the hand bone. Let's go ahead. It's easier to show you once I have them selected. So I'm going to open, in our case, it says human rig, right? Human.rig. But you'll be wherever your bone structure or your rig is. It could be root, it could be whatever. So human rig, root, pelvis, these are all the bones. If I select it, you can see them light up. So we're going to just go down the parent chain and find the bone we're looking for. So down, we're going to go spine, go down the spine, you see, and then we're going to go into the left hand, go down, down. So this is the upper arm, lower arm, and then the hand. This is the hand that we're looking for, the hand bone. Now we go click our left hand IK and drag the hand left into the tip, right? Now we need to fill in the mid and the root, which the mid would be this bone right here, which would be lower arm, and the root would be the upper arm. That would make it to where our IK starts from the shoulder and is up to the arm. So our elbow will match. At least not, it won't match perfectly, but it will at least bend and follow the arm more realistically. So let's go ahead and go into our left hand. We assign the hand left. Now to make our lives easier so we don't have to assign everything by ourselves, we're gonna right click this and do auto setup from tip transform. And now we have it all auto filled, but more importantly, we also have the left hand IK target set up for us, which is right at where the bone is, and the left hand IK hint. The hint is what helps guide how the elbow will bend, right? You know how I said it's an approximate. It will make the elbow bend in a more realistic manner, but an approximation to what could be what is a realistic movement. So this thing is what guides the approximation. So what we want to do, and what I've seen, what seems to be the best setup is, first of all, really important, we click on our left hand IK target and make sure this position matches our hand position. Now this should be done automatically, but if it's not, or if you want to make sure, you click on left hand IK target, click on the hand, so you select the left hand IK target, press Control, then select the hand left, and then go to animation rigging and align position. You see, mine didn't move because the position was already aligned, but if your position is not aligned, that's how you get it done. Okay, and we want this position to be aligned for this to work perfectly. And now we want to move this hint. We want to move this hint back. Just move it back wherever you want it. You know, I'll move it to 1.5, and I want to move it down. So I'll move it down to negative point. No, we'll just do -1. And I want to move it. So for this elbow, it should be pointing more in a direction like this, where my mouse is being drawn. So I want to move it a little bit more to the left. So on the X, we'll move it more to the left. Up, we'll make the value maybe -1.9. Alright. So that's looking good for that left hand. Now, just to see how it's working, let's go ahead and click the Farmer Bob export and go to Window, go down to Animation and Animation. So you'll get this window right here. What we want to do, we can't test it just like this. Okay, forget it. We're just gonna press play. We have to add a animation controller to test it properly. But to test it just in play mode without having to put the Oculus on, I'm just gonna go to game mode, switch this, go to play focused, go to scene, and then press play. I'm going to switch back to scene because it's playing on focus. So I switch back to scene, and now we can see our character. And right now the start pose is a goofy pose. We're going to change that to a T pose for the start pose when it's ready. But for right now, it's whatever the default is, which is fine. Now I want to click on the left hand IK target, and if we move it up and down, you can see that the hand follows the target, and you can see that the elbow for the most part stays behind the hand, which is important. So that's pretty cool. Now you can probably guess, and if you watched the other video, our main what we can do is just have this follow the left hand controller, and we'll get to that. But yep, the IK for the left hand is working. Now let's do the same thing for the right hand, and then we'll move on to the feet. So we're gonna do this again. Go ahead and right click, create empty right hand IK, and then here we're going to add component to bone IK, and then we have to go to the right hand, climb down the parent chain to the hand. Once we see the hand, go back to right hand IK and drag the hand into the tip. Then click on the right click the two bone constraint thing, and then auto setup from tip transform, and that sets us up. Make sure that these two are aligned with each other, the right hand IK target and the hand R, by selecting right hand IK target first, then hand R, and then animation rigging and align position. It looks fine. And now we have to set our hint up again. So for the hint this time, I think we're going to follow the same kind of values, just make the negatives and positives right. So 1.5, 1, 1.9. 1.5, 1, 1.9. And then the Z has to be negative. Nope, not the Z. The X has to be negative. Okay. It is the Z. So the Z has to be negative, that moves it back. The Y has to be negative, that moves it down. And the X can remain the same. So now both of those elbows are in the same position, just mirrored. Looking good for the hands. Now let's do the legs, and we want to do the legs just so you have a complete rig. But for this, you know, the hands are enough, but we'll do the legs as well, and do the legs so that in the future, for future stuff in this tutorial, in this code along, you can follow along easily. You want to have the legs as well to follow along. So we'll do the legs by doing the same exact thing. We're going to create empty and call it left leg IK. Oh no. There we go. Add component to bone IK constraint, and here we will add the tip of the leg, which is that bone. So the tip of the leg for the left leg will follow the chain, the thigh, the calf, the foot. We're looking for the foot. And then left leg, and take foot left into left leg. That sets the foot up. Go ahead and right click and auto setup from tip transform, and that sets up our leg. It's perfectly in position, and it sets up our knee target. So for our elbow, it points back out that way behind the character. The knee points forward, and it's important to make sure the knee is perfectly aligned so that it stays forward. So by perfectly aligned, I mean if your thing doesn't set up automatically, you can click this left leg hint and go to animation align position, and then make sure this thing is on global, your movement spacing or whatever, and then move it straight forward out, and that will get it perfectly aligned to the knee's position, just forward, so it'll bend accordingly. Okay, but in our case it's set up, and if you're on the same version as me and everything is good, you'll be set up in the same way automatically. So one thing I want to do is just move it out a little bit more. So we'll move it out to 1.4, no, 1.5. So just have it out, and that's better for when you're moving in VR. And next we have to do the same thing before the right foot. Now I have the right foot right there, but first we have to create a empty under Bob rig and call it right leg IK, and then add the 2 bone IK, same kind of structure, 2 bone IK constraint, and then add that right foot down to the tip of the 2 bone IK constraint, and then right click it and auto setup from tip transform, and there we go. Both the leg IKs are set up as well. One thing to do is go to the hint and make sure to move the Z out to 1.5 to match the other one, and now we have the hints mirrored perfectly. Cool. So the legs and the hands are set up. Now we have to set up the head. To do the head, we're going to do it differently, right? We're going to create an empty, because we don't want it to really follow we don't want to change the bone structure, we want to follow the rotation and everything. So we're going to create an empty, call this head IK, and we're going to add a component, and it's going to be a multi-parent constraint. Perfect. Now for the multi-parent constraint, it's not as easy as everything else. It doesn't just automatically set up. But for the constraint object, we're going to put in the head bone. So we follow the spine, go up the neck, and we find the head bone. And that bone basically moves the head all around. And so once we have the head bones found, go to head IK and take the head bone and put it into constraint object. So it'll constrain the head bone. And then for the source objects, we're going to add under head IK, create an empty, and call this the head target. Now this, we're going to have to make sure it matches the position of the actual head. So we click head target, and we then control click head so we can select it after the head target has been selected. We go to animation rigging and align position, and now our head target should be at the exact position of our head. Now that that's done, we can add it to we can add the head target as our source objects. Oh, wait. We'll first add one of these. So click the plus button and then just drag that in. So now our rig should be set up for the most part. One thing that's going to be really bothersome is the way this is disappearing off the camera. To solve that, we go into our human character and click on all of the parts that are visible, all the meshes, not the rig, but all the meshes. And then under skin mesh, we're going to make sure we update when off screen. That way it will always update that and show on the camera. Perfect. Now, obviously our character keeps going down, and that's not because of the something wrong with the rigging, but more because of our T-pose isn't being set in the beginning. But our head target, let's see if that's working right. You see? So when you're moving the head rotates up and down all around. The rotation is matched perfectly. Let's go ahead and move our little farmer back up. And let's move the leg targets down to see if the that target and that target to leg IKs are working fine. Perfect. So the legs are moving based on IK, the head is moving based on the head constraint, and the hands should be also moving. Yep, everything is working with IK. Perfect. But anyways, okay, we have the rig set up, but we want to set up the walking next. So to have the we want to be able to let this character walk, but without setting an animation to do all the directions and everything. We could do that, honestly. We could set up animations for all the what is it, 9 directions or 8 directions, whatever. And then as whenever the character moves in one of these directions, or whenever the XR controller is detected moving in these directions, you can blend through the different walk cycles for diagonal, forward, backwards, whatever. That is a possibility. Or you can do it procedurally, and we're going to try procedurally here. And that is what that dude's the reference I showed you of that person, that is what he did. So we're going to follow in his footsteps by creating footsteps in the same way as he did. And to do that, now we need to import his scripts. So I'm going to create a folder here. I'm going to call it scripts, and I'm going to bring in his scripts, but and you guys should bring it in too and download it from his YouTube video. Give him some views, give him a like. It's always good because his video actually was really good. Now let me just go and find the thing. Edit that out, maybe. I'm gonna bring in 3 scripts, and these are the 3 you'll get from his download, on top of the model and everything else he used, which is actually really useful. Let me just add it to the scripts. There we go. So scripts are loading in right now. And here are the 3 scripts: the animate on input, the IK foot solver, and the IK target follow VR rig. So we're going to use all 3 of them, but for right now we're going to use the IK foot solver. And to use it, we have to select the target of the left leg and the target of the right leg, multi-select them, and then we're going to add component IK foot solver. Now that we have this, we want to change terrain to everything, and we have to give it its body, and give it the other foot. So for the left leg, we have to link the right leg target, and for the right leg, we have to link the left leg target. There we go. And now both the legs have the opposite legs link and proper setup. Now this should set up our VR foot stuff. You see, he is, when we pull him up, he's standing on the ground. When we move him back, he's taking steps. Look at that. And again, this guy's tutorials was amazing. The assets he gave is amazing. Just top tier. So we have and the cool thing is everything can be customized right here. The step distance, the length, all of that. And that's really cool to see. But one thing you'll notice is it's looking like he's walking on he's like doing ballerina walks. Oh no, his legs are broken. We can fix that. The rotation is off. So to fix the rotation here, let's find out in play mode what the proper rotation should be of the legs. And to fix the rotation on one of these scripts that we added, we can go ahead and change the foot rotation offset. So we have to find the proper foot rotation offset. On the X, let's try 120. And that is right. Perfect. It's just like the other example. So 120 on the X will fix both legs. So for the left leg IK target, I did it on the foot solver, and then on the right leg IK target on the foot solver, on the foot rotation offset, change it to 120. Perfect. Right. And now this character should be able to walk. But when and you know, obviously it's not perfect, but it doesn't have to, because I'm not showing the body, but you cannot tweak it and really mess with the script to get it to be perfect. So it's a great resource, and you can have your body if you really want to show it, but yeah. All right. Now the legs are done. But after I press play, obviously it's not set, so we have to set it again. Now that we know what the numbers are, it's 120 and 120, right? Hope it wasn't negative 120, because I don't remember. Cool. Now that that's done, we have the foot working, we have the head working, we have the hands working. I think we're in a perfect spot to begin integrating our farmer's body with the XR rig. So let's get started on that. I'd like to mention that I created a Discord server so that all of you can talk to me whenever you need. If any of these projects or any of my other projects are interesting to you and you would like my help with something else or just like to discuss and talk about things, please join the Discord server. I'll try my best to be on there, and we'll even host some random talk nights or something. So hope to see you there. Thanks everybody for watching. So this will be the end of this part, and we'll continue this along in the next one. If you guys enjoyed this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. It would help me out. And also remember to join the Discord if you're interested in having conversations or listening into some of the talk nights. Have a good one. Goodbye.